Well, a lot has come and a lot has gone, but here is my 2025 watch collection. Let's get into it! Yes, and welcome to the Mad Watch Collector Show. Now, last year, I had a huge problem. You had too many watches! Yeah. And at the end of last year's State of the Collection show, I set this target. I am going to try and take this watch collection and turn it into 10. That didn't happen. How could it happen? I am a watchaholic. What I would say, however, is a lot of watches went in 2024. Not because I didn't like them, they were in my collection, so I obviously loved them, but I just wasn't wearing them. And if I wasn't going to be able to get my watch collection down to 10, at least make it a collection where I'm wearing the watches often. Now, this showcase is excluding Seikos, as I've done my 10 watch collection show not long ago. That'll be in the description below. And obviously, I'm not going to show you my Casio collection. That's for another show. As well as the G-Shocks. So without any further ado, let's show you these watches, why I bought them, why they're still in the collection, and then at the end, I thought it'd be a great idea at the time to have my wife choose her favourite 10 of these 21. Are you SOTC ready? Let's go! So right, I thought I'd do this in like sets. And first of all, I'd get my favourite type of watch out the way, the diver. Yeah. Let's start with a watch I got last year, and it is the Doxa 300 Sub. A reinterpretation of Doxa's first dive watch back in the late 60s with the help of Jacques Cousteau. This was the first diver to ever have an orange dial, and I absolutely love it. As the years have progressed collecting watches, my love of reissues or reinterpretations have grown and grown and grown, and this is a personification of why I love watches today. A great tonneau case, big non-protected screw down crown, a porthole like sapphire domed glass, and with this watch I particularly love the big chunky minute hand and the dwarfed size hour hand. I'm not usually a fan of a beads of rice bracelet, but if you do get a Doxa 300 Sub or any sub, you need to have it on this bracelet. Next up, a diver I love so much, I had two of them. First of all, the Black Bay 58 OG, which was a gift from my wife for my 40th.
I know, me in my 40s. Hard to believe, isn't it?
This is my perfect diver. Perfect in its dimensions, perfect in its aesthetics, and amazing in its bezel action. In fact, one of the best bezel actions you can buy. And even having the Black Bay 54 for a couple of weeks to review, I still found that the Black Bay 58 was far better. And the Blue 58 just has that bit more of a sportier vibe to it. The stainless steel is slightly lighter, which contrasts well against the blue, but that colour blue reminds me more of the Marine Nationale Submariners than the actual FXD blue. If you've been following the channel long enough, you will know my admiration for Vertex, a company that have been around since the 1920s. Vertex was brought back to life in 2015 by a blood relative of the founder, Claude Lyons. Their watches are just magnificent, and they just speak to me in terms of legibility, storytelling, quality of parts, and the attention to detail you get with Vertex you don't get with many other brands. Vertex use solid blocks of lume for the dial indices, which means their dials pop out not only in the nighttime but also the daytime. 60 clicks of wonderment. I wear this diver a lot. Another brand I absolutely love is CWC, the Cabot Watch Company, formed in the early 70s to just manufacture timepieces for the British military. First of all, this is a reissue of the 1980 Royal Navy diver, the watch that superseded the Rolex Submariner to the Royal Navy. And everything about this watch is magnificent. The dial, the bezel insert, the case shape. CWC watches have fixed lugs in them, so you're only going to be able to use nylon straps or leather one-piece NATO-style straps. This has a Solita 4 Hz movement inside, and 1980 was the year I was born, so it has a significance to me there as well. Right now I've got it on this blue CWC ribbed single-pass NATO-style strap, and it looks freaking sweet. My second CWC is the SBS Royal Navy diver. Same case design, but PVD black coated and now it's quartz. This was a watch that was first seen in the sort of 80s and was, and I think still is, issued to the Special Boat Service of the Royal Navy. A very tactical, stealthy looking watch, and right now I've got it on the black CWC nylon strap with a little compass on it just to beef up the stealthy tacticalness of it. Two awesome watches. Onto the field watches, and here they are. Now, I don't have too many vintage watches in my collection purely because I'm getting a little bit nervy. Nervy of buying a watch that is gonna be a dud. You have to take into account the movement inside the watch has been running an awfully long time and will need servicing regularly and could pack up at any minute. However, if you get your watches from the right people and the right businesses, you can have a vintage friend for life. And this, believe it or not, is my only Hamilton watch I have in the collection. A little 34mm beauty that was supplied to the US Army back in 1982. Original dial, original hands. You can see the lume went a long time ago. It's what we call a sterile dial, meaning there is no logo to be seen. This little 34mm watch could have been in any country, in any action, we just don't know. Anyway, Jonathan from Antiques Watch Co. This is where I got it from. And if I'm ever thinking about buying another vintage watch, the MWC recommends this company to you. Another awesome field watch, and from the CWC Cabot Watch Company, the G10. 4,000 of these beauties were issued to the British military. This is a Swiss Ronda quartz watch. When you buy a CWC, you honestly feel like you're getting something issued from the army. Smells like army boots. I love the little battery escape hatch in the back. And yes, it may have an acrylic crystal, but this thing is unique. Now, any keen eyes out there will know that the hands aren't moving. That's because this needs a new battery, and it's the first time I've ever seen this watch not move, and I've had it for 6 years. So time to get a new battery in this puppy. This was Vertex's first watch from their comeback in 2015. This is the M100. It's a homage to the Caliber 59. That was one of the Dirty Dozen in World War II. It's manual wind only, has that beautiful legible aesthetics to it, gorgeous textured subdial. This was my first Vertex, and for anyone that is thinking about buying a Vertex, you won't want to not wear these watches. At the minute, I've got it on this CWC leather NATO style strap. Looks cool on the wrist. It's a 40mm watch. The second Vertex field watch I have is the 36mm M36. My favourite watch release of 2024. This one was more a celebration of that Caliber 59 with a lot of modern upgrades, such as the automatic movement, those raised solid blocks of lume, and the beautiful 4Hz sweep from that Swiss movement. I've got a manually wound Vertex field watch and an automatic. That's why I think these two will stay in my collection. Plus this is a 40mm, this is a 36. They just have different looks to them. Right now I've got it on this expandable bracelet from Vertex, and I've kept it on there because I don't have anything else that is like this strap. And straight end links on a watch looks the boss. On some watches it looks rubbish, but this one looks awesome. My most proudest watch in the collection, the MHKR. A watch I designed with Radcliffe Watches at the start of last year to have a design come to life, and for people to buy it, well, that was just magic. The watch's dial was based on an old Omega, which was civilian bought and also military issued. It had the quirky 3 and the 6, which I really liked. I wanted my watch to feel and look like it came from World War II, and I think Radcliffe did an absolutely amazing job.
Could you just click that like button, please? It really helps the channel. Thank you.
The next category is the do-it-all watch one. Watches that aren't particularly one thing, but can do a lot of the jobs. Starting with a watch I got in 2024. This is the Sealander 63 GMT with a Dragonfly blue dial, and I am very happy to be an owner of a Christopher Ward watch. There are not many watch brands out there that do a 36mm GMT, so that was one of the big attractions to this watch. Plus the blue is magnificent, and definitely was my top contender for one of the best summer or holiday watches you could buy on the market for under £1,000. Now, when we're talking about value for money, I don't think there are better watch brands out there than Christopher Ward. Their light catcher cases are superb and their bracelets are magnificent, very well refined and top quality. Whether it's the build, the finishing or the looks, Christopher Ward absolutely nailed 2024 and I expect them to do some more nailing this year. But this little Sealander GMT has been very hard not to wear. So another I can do anything watch is the Formex Essence, a watch brand I have loved from afar for many years. I don't tend to like watches that have a modern aesthetic to them or delve into the futuristic look, but this watch absolutely spoke to me. From its unique case design with the springy free-flowing case to the absolutely beautiful bracelet, but this is the only watch in my collection with a precious stone dial. This is malachite and it has a beautiful layered texture look to it. I don't see this going very soon. Next up, a huge value for money offer in the Erebus Ascent. Now, I've been very proud and fortunate enough to have reviewed many, or if not all, of Jody at Just One More Watches brand Erebus's watches. He's the king of value for money, so you know when he was going to come out with a brand of making watches, they were going to be value for money. And the Ascent is definitely an example of bang for buck. The specifications are superb, from the great looking case, the beautiful bracelets, the fantastic milled clasp with the micro adjustment. I don't have a dial like this in my collection. No, it doesn't have a massive story to it other than a value for money brand has made a Gada watch. But for me, this is the benchmark of value for money. I'm going to use this as a good tester for anything else that comes my way. Last but not least, in the do it all watch category is my new last year Rolex Explorer 14270. Yes, last year I downgraded from a 214270, my 39mm Explorer, to this late 90s one. And I have to say, it's the best decision I made of the year. This Rolex movement still has the 4Hz sweep, but just proportions wise looked phenomenal. Far better than the new 36mm in my opinion. And it's made me wear this watch a lot more than if I stuck with my 214270. Now, I'm surprised I don't have too many of these, but my favourite complication in a watch is the chronograph. First of all, probably my favourite watch in my entire collection, the Vertex MP45, a mono pusher chronograph that was first designed back in 1945 for bomb disposal personnel in the British military. But this watch to me is just magnificent. I mean, how can you not like that dial? I know some people might not like the cut off numerals, but as they are loomed blocks, it just gives such a unique look to it. This is the Heritage Edition. Vertex didn't make too many of these, so I'm very fortunate to own one. Decorated movement, wears like a dream. It's 40mm. Still my favourite watch in my entire collection. Next up, another CWC. This is the Falcon chronograph. This watch is based on a lot of their chronographs they had in the early 80s. This is a Swiss Ronda quartz watch. Again, it being CWC has the fixed spring bars, but I have worn this watch a hell of a lot. My last chronograph is the watch that I'm pretty sure the wife will divorce me if I was to sell it, the Fortis Cosmonauts chronograph. This bead blasted absolute beauty, which houses the Valjoux 7750, is just an absolute winner, and it baffles me why Fortis haven't made a 38mm since. I love the screw down crown, I love the screw down pushers. It's probably the busiest dial I have in my collection, but it just looks right. This is a watch from the 90s and the dial is still very vibrant. At the minute I've got it on this awesome Artem Hydroflex strap. This is another one of those watches that sets my collection apart from anyone else's. So it can't go! My last type of watch is my pilot's watch, which arguably the Fortis I just talked about could be in that, but this next section is dedicated to a brand I absolutely love, and that is Zero West. Now, I actually have 3 Zero West watches. One at the minute I have loaned off to my brother because he absolutely loves the brand too. That's the Hurricane H2, and Zero West have such a unique and distinctive look to them. You can see them coming a mile away, and each has a unique story to them. The first one, which is my favourite is the DB80, a commemoration of the Dambuster mission 80 years ago. The dial inspired by an altimeter in the cockpit of a Lancaster bomber, and on the case back we have a little piece of one of the actual Lancaster bombers that took part in the Dambuster raid. Me being a lover of history and military history, this is a match made in heaven. This is a special watch, as is the Mosquito M1. The first time Zero West made a dial that wasn't inspired by a dial in a cockpit. Definitely one of my favourite dials of 2024. Still with that unique Zero West case look. Great crown, which is inspired by the trigger in the cockpit of a Mosquito fighter plane. And in fact, if you turn the watch over, you have a piece of the actual Mosquito that took part in the Jericho mission. And if you look at my show I did last year, you know all about that. Even though these watches are probably not pilot's watches, they definitely feel like pilot's watches to me, and they are sweet. So there we go. That is my entire watch collection, excluding Seikos and Casios. And it has changed a hell of a lot from last year. I have a more rounded collection now, full of watches I do wear. Now, if and when the time does come, when a new watch is on the horizon, I need to make a big decision, because I am going to keep this collection down to 20 pieces. And it's going to be very, very hard, because it's going to get to the point I'm going to start selling watches I'm going to regret
and end up rebuying later on.
But the big question I hear you ask, which of these watches are my wife's favourite 10? So here it is, my wife's favourite 10 of the 20. I haven't seen what's inside here yet. I don't think there's going to be too much colour, so probably not a Doxer, but we'll see. Here we go. Are we ready? What's in and what's out? Whee! Right, okay. The Rolex Explorer is in. She likes that one. The CWC G10. The Formex Essence. Got a bit of green. I'm very surprised she likes that one. The Black Bay 58. Oh, the Vertex MP45. We got the CWC SDS Diver. And of course, the Fortis Cosmonauts Chronograph. CWC RN Diver. The MHKR. Of course we do. Mwah. And absolutely, the Vertex M36. As a collection of 10, I would be happy to only own them, wife. Well done. But listen, I'm going into 2025 with an open mind. Because like a lot of purchases of last year, I didn't see them coming. Anyway, you guys out there, I'd love to know what you think of this collection, and what is the one watch in your collection you will never get rid of. And whatever you do, don't say it's a Citizen or a PRX. No, I'm only joking. You can say that, it's fine. If you've watched till the end, thank you so much. If you want a bit more of the Mad Watch Collector, click there and join. But if I've got you for a few more minutes, which I know you have, take a look at this Seiko collection. This is lovely. So we got 20 watches here. We got another 10 here. Come on. These are superb. Go on. You know you want it. Go on. Click it. You know you want to. Click it.